In the 1994 film The Inkwell, the main character Drew had not one, but two toxic flings during his summer vacation. One was with Lauren Kelly, the popular girl that all the guys wanted, and the other was with Heather, an older married woman. We gotta talk about this.
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber.
There will be spoilers.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
We need to talk about Drew and his romantic interests in this
In the
movie.
women, right?
The women, Drew and Lauren and Drew and Heather. That is what we are going to talk about now. So with Drew and Lauren, like we had discussed earlier, Drew first sees Lauren Kelly out on the beach and she's frolicking around and he's just immediately drawn to her.
He could feel her aura because he was sleeping and he woke up and he just had to rush to the window to go see what was out there.
Yes. Drew lays down for his nap and falls asleep. And then he wakes up and he looks out the window. And when he looks out the window, what does he see? Who does he see but Lauren Kelly, played by
sees Jada
Pinkett.
Pinkett.
Dancing on the beach.
She was playing Jada Pinkett, really, because that's what she do today.
Well, now all of a sudden, Drew is just like, what's going on? They playing the special music. He's busting and hauling butt to get downstairs with his bike and everything so he could try to go get close to and talk to Lauren Kelly. And so now all of a sudden, Drew has the doll that he wasn't even supposed to bring. And the music and all of that stuff is going on. So he sees Lauren and he gets so excited and he done snuck this doll on the trip. He running down the stairs.
Up out of there.
He just busts up out of there. And then when he get there, she's gone. She's just gone. She done disappeared. They go to the dance. And prior to this point, we have been feeling like Drew was all shy and everything like that. But the guys, he's introduced to the friends, his two friends plus his cousin. And then the guys start dancing. His cousin is just a big show off, Junior is. So of course, Junior, as soon as he comes in the room, he's like, let me get as much attention as possible. He's one of those. And so then Drew eventually starts dancing himself and he's looking like a complete weirdo. He was not shy though.
This whole thing was probably where they got it from in the wood. The car ride and everything.
But love don't cost a thing, the weirdness of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was all kind of the same thing. Because when I watched this, I was like, man, I have seen this before. Who was first? And so he's dancing and he's just looking like a complete weirdo, but he was not shy. In this moment, he didn't seem to be. He was just, I think you said he was just strange or he was just weird. Yeah. Because he dances all over.
He goes to the girls and she's like, what you doing, waiting on the bus?
He said, he asked him to dance. And that was her response. What you doing? You waiting on a bus? And then they all three laugh in his face. And he dances away.
But why did he ask that? Was he mimicking? Because so now we're talking about whether or not he was interested in girls and tried to pursue girls before.
Am I going to have to ask whether he was a psychopath or a sociopath? Because is he mirroring the people around him? I don't know.
I don't think you have to be either to mimic or to mirror.
I mean,
right?
I'm just being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know. But yeah, he definitely is mimicking, I think, what he saw the other guys do maybe. When in Rome, you just kind of doing what the other people are doing. Yeah. So after he dances away from these girls, he seems fine. He's totally fine, right? But then out of nowhere appears who but Lauren Kelly. And she just on the middle of the dance floor and she ain't even doing nothing. And it's just like, why is she there? But why is she there just standing in the middle of the dance floor? Everybody's dancing. She ain't even dancing. She's just standing
like
there
Alicia
being full of Laurenness, right? And so his friends, because your friends always want to set you up just like in the wood, right? And she's in the center of the floor and Drew's friends, or really his cousin's friends, Junior's friends, encourage him to ask her to dance. And he has to cut in because just as he's walking over, another guy she starts dancing with, right? So the guy actually mushes him in the face and he falls to the floor and then he runs out. Later on, Drew winds up being on the beach, right? And Lauren Kelly is on the beach and his cousin Junior is like, you should have slapped her for what she did to you last night. Now, let's just think about that for a second, or something to the effect of that. Like, that basically she should have gotten assaulted or something for that. But I was like, wait a minute, hold on, though. What did Lauren do to him at that point? Because the guy is the one who mushed him.
Yeah.
She said yes. All she did was say yes to dance with another person. She didn't push him down. But anyway, Junior is mad. And Junior is really just mad because she wouldn't give him no play. So he's a hater. Because when he sees Drew is interested in going over to talk to Lauren, he like, no, she just gonna tease you. She gonna... I just wanted to jump in here to encourage you to join our free Patreon tier. Yes, we have premium paid memberships on Patreon and YouTube channel members who get exclusive content, early releases, and other perks. But we are now also offering a free Patreon membership tier where you will get videos that are not offered to the general public on YouTube, where you get to watch the full movie along with us in our commentary. If you like what you see, you can join one of our paid membership tiers later, or you can just remain as a free member with no strings attached. This free Patreon membership does not give you access to all of the paid exclusive content and early releases that our premium Patreon and YouTube channel members enjoy, but we wanted a way to offer you a better viewing experience without many of the restrictions that we have on this platform. So come on over and join us on Patreon. The link is in the description. It's easy and free to join. You can simply log in with your Google or existing social media accounts and begin enjoying Axiom Amnesia's Patreon. Now back to the show. Because every guy likes her and they've all tried and failed apparently, except her ex-boyfriend. So Drew goes over to talk to Lauren. Lauren is really funky. You in my light, you would, whatever. Like she's very funky. And so she's mean to him. But then later, when Junior is like, she's mean, Drew's like, no, she wasn't mean. She was nice. What? Like, are you delusional? But see, that's what happens when you really infatuated, right? Everything they do, you can't even see, that fat meat is greasy.
That they had to exchange. She's like, yeah, we had to exchange, and
she talked to me.
She didn't completely just dismiss me like right off bat. She even asked me my name.
My goodness.
But see, when you're a man, that's all you need. Okay, you ask me my name. Next step, we in the bed.
So here's the thing, though, right? It's next step. This happens. Next step, that happens. So the delusions of men are that they have the chance.
Different than the delusions from the women,
exactly.
Right?
The delusion of the man is that they have the chance because, she said. She didn't
whatever.
She didn't
smiled.
say no immediately.
Yeah.
She didn't say no immediately.
She laughed at my joke.
And then the delusions of women tend to be, he gave me his time. He came over here. He showed me a little attention, right? So anyway, we don't even need to break all that down. But anyway, in the course of their relationship, she teases him a little bit, but she finally, after she sees him interact with Heather and give Heather a ride home on the back of his bike. Heather is this grown woman who's married to a man who is from the streets, for the streets. Damona Jones, I hope I'm saying that right. I know we just started, but I have always wanted to know exactly how old AJ Johnson's character was. That's Heather compared to Drew. It seemed to be a significant difference in age. And let me just tell you to hold your mule on that one, because we got to discuss that in full, dirty, down low detail, because the situation just, it was funky. Okay. The Order of the Bees, we come into this, but I just want to mention it on now so that it's acknowledged and put on the record. But Larenz Tate is an incredible actor, but when that grown A woman sleeps with him, it's distasteful. If you switch the genders and have that been a young woman on the spectrum, different story. Okay. So, and we're also throwing out the idea that maybe he was on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Because again, even that wasn't something.
Well, I just think
then.
Today in 2025 is different as well. So yeah, and the movie is set in the 70s, but we're gonna get to this.
Yes, we are coming to this pretty soon. Drew meets Harold and Heather Lee. That is AJ Johnson's character and
Morris Chestnut.
Yeah, the two of them who are a married couple at the tennis court, and Morris and her are just arguing with each other. They got problems in their relationship. You can see it's strained. Because, she like, well, you go ahead and he go, and then she falls as they're playing. And then after she falls, No, her husband ain't going to help her get up, but who does? Drew. So she's like, well, thank you very much. And then he says, some quote to her or whatever. And she's just like, oh, or whatever. So then.
The beauty of chivalry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drew runs into Heather, right? And she compliments him on his hair. He's downtown after he done got his hair done. He riding his bike because he ride his bike everywhere. And so she's been waiting for her husband, who is 30 minutes late. And we know Harold is for them streets. And so he's like, well, you want to ride home? And she like, no, because he talking about, I'm going to basically give you a ride on my bike. Bruh, boy, bye. But she said, well, okay. And let me just go back to these comments that y'all are over here roasting Harold. Kamisha M says, nasty Harold. Paris Finley talking about Harold had a harem. Bree Beauty says Harold was down there on that milk of magnesia, talking about when he was at that nudist beach and stuff. So y'all really was giving. Harold was an equal opportunist and community D. Demona Jones says. So yeah, Harold was out there, and So anyway,
but it's Morris Chestnut.
Well,
all of y'all women wanted him in the early 90s, so he was just partaking in this role. That's basically how it is.
So Heather say, okay, I'll get on the back of your bike,
Bruh.
And so she does.
And they speed off.
They speed off.
And they zoom into no other.
Yes.
Then Lauren Kelly.
Who
is watching in the distance.
Right off.
He done rode off with a grown woman.
Just a grown woman,
after you done just...
wouldn't give him the time of day. After she sees that, then she contacts Drew and wants to go out. So then that's when we see Lauren and Drew go out. They go on and have a really nice date, have a nice connection with one another. And we also know from where they were at the beach that Junior, the cousin, has said that she has an ex-boyfriend, Lauren does, and that she's upset because the ex-boyfriend had broken it off with her to get with somebody else, So Lauren and Drew go on their little date, and she's mad that he won't take her for lobster and stuff because he like, well, we can't do lobster because I ain't got that kind of money. So Drew is still out there on his date with Lauren or whatever, and she tells him, she points to the water, say, go jump in that water and give me a lobster, boy. And then she pushes him in.
Go give me my car, bitch.
That's basically how it went. A reference over there to Hustle and Flow. That we talked about yesterday that you can find over there on the Axiom Amnesia channel. So he says he can't swim. He like, I can't swim. And so next thing you know, he's swimming all of a sudden. He went down and caught a lobster from the trap.
I was going to think worse of her, right? If she was just going to push him in. But she jumped in with him, kind of. So she get a little point for that. But they should have just had her push him in. But I don't know. You probably would have felt too bad. Right? You would have think too negative about her if she hadn't jumped in with him.
Yeah, so she did. But so she jumps in and he and she's like, well, Drew, where you at or whatever. And Drew comes up and he got the lobster. And then not only does he have, because I was thinking to myself, okay, she done told this boy to jump in this water and get this lobster. Who gonna cook it? Who gonna cook this lobster? But
it ain't hard to cook a lobster.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's hard, but like, where you getting the pots from? Y'all done went over here. You bringing the pots out your mama kitchen, or you already ready with a pot out there?
It's the 70s, right? You ain't doing that today, but in the 70s, it don't matter. You could probably find a can on side the road and start cooking it up in that can. An old metal bucket.
Yes. So they cooked that lobster over a fire that presumably Drew done set. So Drew knows something. He know what to do because Lauren Kelly ain't set no fire out there. And she starts confessing her dreams. And, she's like, I want to be a dancer or an actress. And we also get the feeling and understanding that she's been in different types of media and commercials, etc. since she was a child.
Yeah, a child actor.
So Lauren.
So we get why she's like this, right?
But just so bratty, and demanding. So Lauren also talks about that it's just her and her mother, and that because he was like, well, I thought it might be late and you got to get home. She's like, well, it's just me and my mother, and as long as I don't get pregnant, she don't care, or she could care less. I'm like, wow. And then we find out that the father
end up pregnant.
The father then left him, right? So Lauren left the family. So Lauren says that Drew's folks, they seem pretty cool, and she has seen them on the beach or whatever. And so then she busts out with, which one you gonna go with when they split up? Girl, what? But this goes to show you how people's perspective and their own lived experiences just trump everything else. Just because that's your situation, and maybe the people you know that might be their situation, but
Yeah. And but they're kids too, right?
Yeah,
so it's like so, but also it's something that did you even think about it though? Even though it might not going to happen, if it were to happen, who you
well,
going
he
with?
hadn't thought about it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And he like, I don't know. And then he said
like,
something that was sad.
Yeah, well, whichever one would take me, bruh. So he feels like a burden. He feels like his parents really don't want him, right? So yeah, to even think about that for me, I'm like, it's gonna be a fight over who gonna take me.
And
yes, it was one lobster for two people, which was crazy. But she was like, "Ooh, I'm full." And then, but Drew was like, "I should have got two," But maybe she was full and he wasn't because he was the simp, right?
Go to the comments. Was Drew a simp? Go to the comments. So he asked her though, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And she says, "No, not right now." Wait, girl, what?
Yeah,
I don't like the not right now.
The not
part.
Right now means I'm always in a relationship. So for a lot of people, soon as they start being in relationships, that's it. They're never not in a relationship. So maybe that's what that means, right? Because it's always going to be a relationship. So not right now, maybe in a couple days.
Yep.
Maybe, what if he would have asked her right there, be my girl? Maybe. Do you think she would have said yeah?
I think she would have played him and said, "I'll tell you tomorrow when you give me another lobster." She would have done like she did when he asked her out in just a minute we'll talk about, where she makes him wait to just see, And so the folks in the chat are talking about this whole idea of, her getting pushed into the water and stuff like that, which I mean, of her pushing him, Drew, into the water.
When somebody say I
crazy.
can't swim, then
you don't do that.
But how did he start swimming once he said?
Well, Paris Finley said you don't just throw someone in the water. He said I can't swim. The hell, and how dare she project that onto his family? So where was Lauren's mom when she had that dude over? We're gonna talk about that in a minute, because
she probably was over there with Harold.
And Justice Long says he wasn't a simp, just inexperienced.
Well, you could be inexperienced. That's what will make you a simp.
But Drew was being chivalrous,
Yes, but that's what simping is, right? So it's complicated.
It can
when
be
people say simp, that's what they talking about.
That being chivalrous is somehow wrong because,
exactly. Like
women don't deserve to be treated decently.
When we hear these terms that we think is negative, then we try to get away from them. But I just be like, well, that's the word. If I'm a simp, I'm just a simp, right? That's what's describing me. Right? So, yeah.
So, he was
a chivalrous simp.
He done took Lauren home on the tandem bike. And they really do seem like they have a connection going on, Drew. And then Drew just said, "Look, go with me on another date. Come to the bicentennial event with me." And so she makes him wait while she plays around. And then she says yes. And so he's like, "Oh my goodness." Drew is just even more obsessed with her at this point. Heather, who's married to the cheating dog Harold, who is in the film. And Heather is played by AJ Johnson. And she's billed in here as Adrienne Joy Johnson, but she's AJ Johnson from House Party. And her husband, Harold, is Morris Chestnut. So Harold is out cheating again in the broad daylight. And Junior and his friends see, and they're laughing. So he must do this all the time. They're well aware because he's with a different woman than he was with before. He was just a hoe for the streets. And so Drew goes to tell Heather at home. He's like, "Look, I got to tell you what's going on about your husband." But then he backs down and doesn't tell because he's like, she looked happy, So he's like, "But Mr. Loverboy won't get away with it." Like it was very, I don't know, weird how
why did he follow them like that though? He was peeking around corners and stuff.
So now Drew is waiting in the bushes over there at Harold and Heather's house, and he traps him in the car with, he's got some contraption how he uses a weight to keep him where he can't open the car door after Harold gets in his car, and then he basically sets a fuse, and it's to these firecrackers and
Somebody
whatever.
mentioned Home Alone. And said Home Alone.
Yeah, it's given Home Alone, and it really was, because it was very weird how he did that. But the other thing about him, he's always taking these risks that could get somebody hurt, though. That could get somebody hurt. And so yeah. So Drew has waited in the bushes. Harold runs away after he basically tears open the top to his convertible to get out. That's how Harold gets out. And so then we see Drew getting ready for his date with Lauren Kelly. And so Junior gives him a rubber. And so Drew is dressed up. He got flowers. He's coming to Lauren's house. He's walking. Yeah, let's rewind. Let's go back. He did say he doesn't need it, because I don't think I'm going to need that. He's not, He ain't
and
even
then Junior had to school him, though. It's a lot of men who got kids right now who said that very thing.
Mm-hmm. So, he did school him. And so he goes over there. He's got the flowers in his hand, and he's all dressed up and all of that. And he knocks at the door, and there's no answer.
Why did he have like a gold medal, like he won a gold medal or something?
No.
He probably had the bronze because it's Drew.
And so Heather, and so he knocks on the door, and there's no answer. And he doesn't see anything. And when he tries to peek through the windows, and so he sits on the porch and waits. Meantime, Heather is found the wine bottle over in Harold's bag, and she confronts him about his cheating. And she wants him to admit it. She's like, just admit it. Just admit what you're doing. And smacks him and throws him out. It's like, you're a liar. You call yourself a man. Like, she's really going full on, nasty, dirty cry. And so she's crying and she's yelling at him. And then he started yelling back at her, I gave you everything you wanted. You got all this money and you got the, So he gets out and he leaves. And now night has fallen, and Drew is still sitting on the porch.
Yeah, so he couldn't go to the bicentennial parade or whatever, or the festival, because he would have to go and be like, she stood me up.
So he's still on the porch, and a light comes on inside. And Drew is like, what? And then Drew go over to that window and look in. Isn't that kind of weird, though? That's like, the light comes on, and then you go look in the window of somebody else's house. That's weird. I mean, I get why he did it, but like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But what somebody said about him peeking around corners, my mind playing tricks on me, was that he's still a kid. He is in transition, and he's awkward while he's peeking around corners and stuff and peeking through windows. I don't know if it's that simple, because I wasn't doing that at that age, and I wouldn't, right? But we know he had some issues, is why. But maybe some people just do that too, because he kind of found himself obsessed with this woman and how this man was treating her, right? Like,
yes.
It may be like, okay, I think cheating is wrong, but he was to the degree of that.
Yeah, he was like, I can't deal, So Drew,
yeah, so he was peeking through the window when he seen the light. He's like, hold up, I need to see what's going on with this girl.
Mm-hmm. So he looks and he sees Lauren. Lauren is in her drawers.
Bruh.
With her ex in his drawers. Okay.
Bruh.
And then, he's just like, oh my goodness.
But she looks over.
She look over. She sees him looking at her through the window in her drawers with this man, and she just keep looking and don't do nothing. The dude is still ready to do what he's doing and whatnot. And he got tears running down his face, and he's just heartbroken, and he's devastated, and he runs away crying.
He ran away like his daddy.
Yes. And so, I mean, listen, 2 heartbreaks in 2 minutes in this movie. And it was just like, man, he between Harold and whatever. So I just was like, wow. So Drew runs, and we see the 1976 bicentennial celebration, and he runs through the crowd.
He runs through the parade.
And yes, and he walks on the beach while the fireworks go off. Now we about to get to the craziness. He sees Heather, and he walks over to Heather. She's sitting there, and she looking sad, and he joins her. Heather, who's married to the cheating dog Harold, who is in the film, and Morris Chestnut is the one who's been cheating. She's found out, so she's sad that her man is cheating on her. So they both, Drew and Heather, find each other on the beach sad because they've both had their hearts broken recently. And then they have a little conversation and she like, you look bad as I feel, you know? And he gets up to leave and she's like, wait. He stops him.
It was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was you that did that to Harold's car.
It was you the whole time.
You did that to Harold's car. And I was like thinking she was going to say something different, but no. She's like, thank you. Thank you. So she thanks him for, you know, doing what he did to Harold. And she gives him one, quote, innocent kiss. And she's not even all the way straight on the lips. She's just like, gives him a kiss like it's
then
goodbye.
Then she give him a hug.
Then she's giving a hug. And then she starts to kiss him for real.
And she
with
starts
the
to drizzle down there.
Going off.
It was...
And what? You grown.
And then she started kissing him on the mouth.
You so grown. This was just so then after all of that happens, then Heather is like, come here, little boy. Let me, you know, and then next thing you know, this grown woman and the 16-year-old, you know, and that's what happened.
Somebody asked about her age and, you know, so I think AJ Johnson was probably around 21 at the time. 21? So if her character was around her age, but she probably could have been older. Yeah.
You know.
94 maybe.
And I just have to say that like.
Wait, maybe that's 23.
Because I'm thinking.
I think she was born in like 61.
So.
Was she? I don't know.
I don't know.
No. No.
She's probably getting closer to. I don't know. But.
She's probably around 60 right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay.
She was up there in them 20s at least.
Just as long say, mind you, Larenz Tate was only 17 when he filmed that scene.
Yeah, but
I mean, they're actors
18,
and everything, but still,
we're talking about the characters and what they did.
Aside from that, you know, we just have to say the more of what happened. So as like a grown, extra grown woman at this point now and watching this, when I watched it in the past, I was just kind of like, whatever, okay, so they did. But I didn't think anything about their age difference. I was just like, oh, okay, well, he wanted it. She, you know, maybe he wanted it. I don't know. But anyway, I thought nothing about this at the time. And this is, you know, somebody yesterday said that they wanted to go back and watch Hustle and Flow with their grown eyes. And I agree, because watching this with my grown eyes, I'm like incensed. I'm like, you and Harold both need your butts whooped.
Man, they thought
both of y'all are trifling.
They thought they was making something beautiful.
Really, you might be more trifling than Harold, because Harold, them women looked like they were probably grown. You, I don't know. So anyway, let's talk about what she did that was so funky. So
everybody know.
Well, so the fireworks are going off in the back. It's, you know, sparking. And you're right. They probably thought they was just like, this is going to be beautiful. He's going to have this grown woman do that, you know. So she was like, come here, young man, basically, because she brings him, pulls him to her, and they go off to a secondary location that's still on the beach. And she takes him by the hand and she
took him into the bushes because she didn't want to be in the open. She was like, let's go over here behind the brush.
Bushes. And so she starts taking unbuttoning his stuff and taking his shirt off and whatever. She was a grown behind woman. Yeah. This is so cringe. And so then the next thing we know, that luckily they spare us of actually having to watch what they really do. And so then the next morning, Drew wakes up on the beach in his drawers alone. Like, what's going on? What's happened, Auntie M? Because I'm on this beach in my drawers and I'm 16 years old. And so Heather, he looks and she's on the beach and he walks up to her. And why when everybody on the beach, they got to have their grandma's Afghan throw around.
Right.
Like, it's just so good.
So she's standing there and she hit him with the, bye, Felicia.
She did. She really did. She bye, Drew. What, girl? Look. But she's looking very serious. She's probably contemplating the prison time that she might deserve behind what she just did. And she says, goodbye, Drew. Bye, Drew. You know, and so he's like, goodbye. And because what else was he going to say? And, you know, so, but in the eyes of maybe the people who made it or whatever, in the eyes of a lot of people, maybe his black mental health problems, all he needed to get right was to get some.
Yeah, you get some cooches over.
You know, the other thing we want to remind you to do is we mentioned Discord yesterday on our live. Join our Discord. Discord is free. What it'll do is it'll allow you to be able to participate in chats at any time, but it's like real-time chat.
All time.
You know, and we're in there and we talk back and forth. You'll be able to, you know, speak with your voice, leave voice message. You can leave, you can talk, we can talk real time just like we're talking here, but I can't hear your voice. We could just talk back and forth. However, and we can also even do things where we share screens and show you, videos and stuff like that. So we really want to be able to have that option for you all as well. But the link for that is also in the description so that you all can join. And so first we're going to talk about Drew and Lauren Kelly. So was Drew and Lauren's connection like genuine, or was it just one-sided? Did Lauren see anything in Drew?
Yeah.
What she saw?
That's why she got with him. I don't know what she saw. She saw he was a nice guy, right? And it's just like all the other guys just trying to smash and stuff and whatever. He's just there and he's very awkward. He's being nice to the old lady who's just on side the road and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And she wanted to see for herself. She went, she saw for herself, and he's just doing things for her. He's simping, right? He's paying for her to take the pictures all by herself. He's jumping in, getting lobster so she can eat all by herself. You know what I'm saying? He's just taking her out, having a good time, and probably wasn't making advances because that's not what he's about, right? So I think from that aspect, but I think she's like, all right, there's something different about this guy. And maybe that I could play him, which what would initially cause them to go out. But I think that on their date, she actually did like him, but she just had her own issues too.
I am never as nice to these women characters.
What?
I'm never as nice to the women characters as as you are. You're giving her, like, you're being nice. I feel like she was just, I don't think she deserved any mercy aside from the fact that she had some trauma
about her mercy.
because I feel like she was just
using them up.
Yeah. And then,
why does she need to use him?
Give me some lobster because she could.
Yeah, she could have done that with any guy though, probably. Because the way they acted about her, right? I'm thinking like, yeah, every guy's tried and she could have done that to them. Maybe she does. I don't know.
So I don't know, but I just can't help but feel like that about her. So when it comes to, let's see, who else were we talking about? Lauren. Okay, so why is Drew so attracted to Lauren in the first place?
Because of the way she looked.
It had to just be that.
Or if he really did feel that aura through the window, then it could have been that. But he looked out the window, he saw her, and he wanted her, and then he kept seeing her. So that's usually how it starts off anyway.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, because there's some basis for the attraction, that's there. And clearly, that that happened between them. I think that he liked her because of how she looked, and I think that her nasty behavior made him like her even more for whatever reason. So what is it that Lauren sees in her ex that she doesn't see in Drew though?
Wait, what? So I don't
like, why doesn't Lauren want Drew? What is Drew missing?
Yeah, so Cornell says that she reminded her of Angela Pickles. And are you talking about Angelica?
I don't know who that is.
Angelica Pickles from the Rugrats. She would just antagonize everybody all the time.
Okay,
and she was a bully.
Well,
that's the only Pickles I know.
Well,
but yeah, I don't know. Like, that's just how she was. I don't know. But if she was a brat because of her being in Hollywood or whatever, right? Possibly, or trying to be there, maybe she had some little success, right? And that's how she treated all the chauffeurs and stuff. And like the character that was on Family Matters and stuff. The guy in what was the one? The Little Rascals, the new Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Like that's just how those types of characters are portrayed. So maybe there's some history there where maybe she was slightly successful and she had a butt on her back.
Yeah. Nita says Drew is highly intelligent. I believe Lauren used Drew as a means to an end. Some women play the damsel in distress until something better comes along. So I guess.
Yeah, but what does she get, I guess?
So, all right. Do we think that Lauren's behavior and how she was treating Drew and her deciding to even go out with him and other people seeing that or whatever, like his cousin and whatnot, how did that influence Drew's level of confidence he had in himself? Because everybody thought that he didn't have a chance. And in fact, like Junior's friends were setting him up. Yeah, go ask her to dance, because they knew he didn't have a chance in their minds, right? Because she said no to everybody they knew, and so
maybe that's
bad.
why she did it, to show them, right?
Yeah, could be.
Like, look, you can't get this, and this guy will, right? To make them feel bad, which would be super master manipulation.
It really would be.
Like, she would be on that level of high intelligence. Like, dang, she's a beast.
Cornell adds on, like Whitley Gilbert in the first season of you know what I mean, a different world. Yeah. I mean, it was. Whitley was a totally different character that first season, for sure. She was very, like, they took the best and least terrible attributes of her personality to take forward as the character moved on, which allowed her to be more likable, right? Yeah. But yeah, that might be true. She was a little Whitley-ish. Well, and then maybe I don't know. Was that she would? Jada Pinkett was on there around this time. She was on A Different World, and
that was over by now.
Tupac, was it? Well, I mean, maybe she had. I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, maybe there were other influences in the way she chose to portray this character.
Man,
that would remind you of other people.
She was Jada Pinkett.
Maybe
the character she portrays now as her public persona is that. So maybe that's kind of like, how people say Tupac did that, right? Oh, he took on this persona from this whatever, and that's who he lived out as. I think maybe
it could be.
Maybe they learned together, right?
All right, so did Lauren ever see Drew as more than just a summer fling? If her ex had not come by the house, would Drew have been able to get, Did
he come by, or did she summon him?
Well, whatever if he said no, if he wasn't there,
okay.
If he didn't come by.
I think they do go to the thing, yeah.
Well, not just go. But does he get some? Does Drew get some?
Oh, probably, because she was a whore. Right? That's
was she? No. I mean, because look, she only wanted this one guy. She was with the one guy. That doesn't make her one.
She was with Drew. And then this other guy came along.
She just
and
had
smashed
Drew on
him.
the back burner.
All right,
and
that's what make you a her.
Like that.
That's what do it.
Okay. So
no, we're gonna do this. She a her. See, you talking about I being nice, and look at you.
Well,
it's just one guy.
Because it was.
It was him and Drew.
Who won away?
We don't even know if it was the ex. First off.
Well, that's true. I mean, it just seemed like
I got to go back and look at his hair, because this dude had a bigger fro.
My goodness. All right. So how does Drew's idealization of Lauren prevent him from seeing reality? Because he definitely seemed delusional. It was a long shot, even when she said yes. Even when she was there seeming like she liked him, it just seemed very temporary, but it was a long shot.
You done spent the whole day with the guy, so,
well, because she had nothing better to do.
All right, so?
And because she was like, I'm going to give me some lobster.
Women
I'm gonna
don't
let him
have
take me
nothing
out.
better to do, and they don't get with certain men who ask them out.
Well.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the better thing they're doing is nothing, right?
That could be true.
So, yeah.
So did she lead him on, Lauren? Did Lauren lead Drew on? Or
no.
did he just or is he just misreading her signals?
No, she's just a her and couldn't help herself.
Shut up.
Right? She intended on going.
How is a woman
because she's supposed to be going on a date.
No.
I'm not in 2025 thinking. My thinking is back a few decades.
You got that 1976
yeah.
thing. But listen to what I'm trying to say. How is it that she's labeled as that when she had an ex-boyfriend that she basically doubled back for?
It probably was Junior up in there.
Shut up. That's why Junior is like, how was your night? You had my seconds. Let me stop. See, why are you like influencing me to be like that? But anyway, I don't think that of Lauren. I don't think she should be labeled that way. I don't think that she led Drew on, because I just think she at most would have been like participating.
Well, if he didn't know any better, isn't it leading him on? Like if you know that I know that I can take advantage of somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Go jump in there, give me a lobster.
Yeah, that's
pay
true.
for the pictures and everything. True. Go get the bike. Go get my car a little bit.
Well,
right?
okay, so she led him on in terms of the date because she should not have had that man at that door.
In terms of everything, yeah.
She shouldn't have had him like that.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the final thing. If Lauren had chosen Drew, would their relationship have lasted? I mean, it would have been long distance because he don't live in Martha's Vineyard.
It would have lasted a week. But he had left there.
It
wasn't even a week. That was like the last day. That was.
Bruh, I agree with you here, Kamisha. Lauren saw Heather on Drew's bike and she wanted to be seen on that bike too.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I say, it was she seen him pick up a grown woman. And not a bad looking grown woman who had not a bad looking husband. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Everybody know it's a small little community, so they know. She know who his husband is and stuff. And she's like, dang, that boy Drew done pulled that. Let me see.
Let me get over here and get my
and she was a her, so she was like, yeah, I'm gonna give me some of that.
She was like, let me get my my points up.
And the cousin knew that she was a her. Because what did he say?
No, he said she was a tease, and that is not the same thing.
Well,
he said she gonna tease
she
you.
wasn't teasing that guy up in the house.
Well, but he ain't know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but the word thing got around.
Well,
that's why he asked, "Did you get some?"
Well,
because he was expecting.
Because he was trying to.
No, he was expecting them to be like, "You've been all day with her, and you didn't get." That was how he came at it.
Just as Long answers the question and says, no, it would not have lasted. It would have just been a first love type of thing. Basically just what he wound up with, even though it wasn't love, right?
And she
with
was
Heather.
Like, bye, Felicia.
But let me so now that we've mentioned Heather again, let us talk about Drew and Heather. And we talked about how they hooked up and whatever. But all right, I'm going to just ask the difficult questions. We at the end where, we just get a little down.
Where we just lose our monetization.
Let me just say, look, could Drew give consent at 16 to this woman? Y'all in the past wanted to know how old was this character supposed to be? How old was Heather? Heather had to be at least about 25, 30.
At least about 25, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 25 to 30, which puts her at least 9 years older than him, probably, right? 9 years is too 30, much. Yeah. 9 years is too much when you 16. Okay?
Yeah, it is.
That's no. So there's to me no question about the fact that this was just inappropriate. Okay? And so my question is though, but because it's not even about, depending on the state in this, he's 16, he's not even 17.
Yeah.
So, but this is 1976 and he's a boy. And a lot of y'all said in the comments, if the tables were turned and this was a girl, it would be like a thing. This wouldn't even be glossed over. They might not even be able to put this movie. This movie might be in the category of Pretty Baby by the time, with Brooke Shields. And if y'all didn't see the documentary where she talks about her life and the movie she made, Pretty Baby, when she was not an adult and was doing nude scenes in the movie and everything, that's a good watch. But
it's a good watch.
Well, the documentary is a good watch. Yeah.
Was it a series or was it? I think it was a movie, series, wasn't it?
No, I think it was only a one-timer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like an hour and a half or two. So
I thought you was talking about the movie. Was it good watch?
No. The So could he though? All right. Nobody says the answer is no. He could not. Drew could not say yes to this woman. And she knew it was wrong. Yeah, because I talked about how, she had that serious look on her face when she had that little Afghan around her shoulders as she stood on the beach with the wind blowing through her hair and stuff like that. Like, she didn't just do what she did last night.
But wasn't it Drew manipulating her?
Don't even try it.
What?
How could he manipulate her?
All the stuff that he was, not that. He was all obsessed, right? So he was following the husband around and doing all this.
She was never even supposed to know that.
All right, exactly. But then in the end, he walk on right over there. I'm not saying that he can consent or any of that, but I'm saying like she got played as a grown person too. I'm not saying that what she did was right because you still shouldn't do it, but he set it up and she fell into the trap.
Well, Maybe. Well, let me ask you
But
this.
he wasn't trying to get none either, right? Because that just wasn't on his radar. Maybe until the cousin pressured him into thinking that's how he should be.
Justice Long said Heather could have high-key destroyed Drew both mentally and in the bed.
But
did she destroy him from that night? Was he destroyed after that? Because at the end, when his mother was like, how was your summer, baby? Did you have a good summer? He say, I think I did. So, but that doesn't mean that people who have been compromised are always aware or feel a certain type of way about what happened either. And then Kamisha says, plus Heather could have given Drew the VD that Harold gave to her. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay. Conell says, yes, it is inappropriate. But I remember girls had grown men picking them up from high school or skating.
Man, this conversation always comes up.
It was something not right, but not discussed like now. You know what? You are so right, Conell, because we talk about that all the time, just like Heit says, because, there was a time where people just weren't raising eyebrows. There also was, it just, they did. And many times they had kids with them and they went on to marry them, everything. And then, we even talked, was that maybe in our discussion about The Color Purple, maybe even Beloved, where we talked about how, somehow it became perceived differently when, grandma was 13 when you met and married her.
Purple.
Yeah, grandma was 13 when you met and married her, and then, but you married her, and so somehow granddaddy is
and then
not
people were talking about
problematic,
how that was basically their grandparents too. And you still love them, so you don't even think of it like that, right? And it's what brought you about. It's very complicated.
It is complicated. It's complicated. But Heather was wrong all day and all night long.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, Drew legally in 76, a male of 18, folks will say it's okay. Fast forward to now, swap out boy to girl, it's illegal, wrong. That's a daughter, little girl. That's how it plays.
Wait, what about this 18 stuff?
I guess because he legally in 76, a male of 18. He wasn't 18 though, Cheryl, in 76. He was 16. Oh, I guess maybe you're saying he needed to be 18 in 76. I'm not quite sure what the laws in 76 were, but what I'll tell you is that he was just too young.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say morally, he was just too young.
Especially so from when the movie started, they only there 2 weeks. He wasn't interested in that at all. And then at the end of the movie, she just started taking this stuff off like
because she was aggressive with it. And let me just say too, Cheryl added on to her comment, she said true in my opinion, it's wrong, especially for teachers and coaches and pastors with kids and people. You're right, because then not only are you doing it, you're wrong, but then you're in a position of authority that makes it even more wrong, right? Because you're more trusted. You're supposed to be vetted and more trusted than just the average run-of-the-mill adult. So I feel you all day long on that one. And then Nobody says a lot of people, especially boys, are unaware, and so we go back and forth a lot about this question of it's kind of like, what is that movie? American Pie, where you have Stifler and the whole idea of the MILF and Stifler's mom. These boys were not 18.
Yeah, but see, that's how I'm saying it's much different than Drew, who didn't really want nothing just 2 weeks ago,
so,
too.
All right, so then the question I asked, in that moment, did Drew want it?
Well, I don't know if that's fair, right? Because...
Well, but I'm willing to say that maybe he just was
maybe
he just wasn't like
the people who we say have been wrong. Well, not all of them, you know what I mean. But there are lots of them who wanted it, but they were wrong.
Yeah, but what I'm leading to here is it's possible that he didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We know 2 weeks ago he wasn't interested at all. And then at the end of the movie, 2 weeks later, she just started undressing him.
Right.
That's what happened in the movie.
Right.
Even not even just when they showed up, even up to the point where the cousin was trying to give him, that was the same day.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, I don't need the rubber, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that was the same day. He wasn't trying to do that. Maybe he wasn't trying to do it with Lauren, but maybe he was like, I don't know. I don't think he would just want to, get with the other girl. But Nobody says Black girls and boys are often treated as older than what they are. That's true too. And nothing is, done about many of the offenses either.
But did they go all the way?
Who?
Them at the end of the movie.
Yeah, they did.
He still had his drawers on when he woke up.
Because she
didn't put him all the way to sleep.
Because she just pulled him down to his knees.
I'm not saying it's right if they didn't, but...
No, I think we know they did. Because that's why he was like, it wasn't with Lauren. I spent some time.
Yeah, but
he came
could
out
still be fronting. He still could be fronting. He could wake up and think. We know he had issues. He could wake up and think something happened beyond what actually happened.
Listen, go on to the chat because we can't. This is not. This cannot. We were winding down.
I just take for granted that it happened, but when I think about it, I don't know if it actually did happen all the way.
We were winding down, and now we got to go to the chat in the comments and ask, look here, did Drew and her actually,
go all the way?
Did they do the do?
Because it could be like all the other movies too, where like Forrest Gump, right?
Oh yeah, where he just couldn't deal and just laid on down.
He got game with Jake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I don't know, maybe. But see, Jake went round 2 and he got game.
This guy woke up with tighty whities. Those you can't just slip on like that. They were nice and fitted on him and stuff. So, and he was unaware of what happened.
Oh, Cornell says, I know countless men that lost their V card to grown women like they was early teens. I told a guy recently that was SA. Yeah, because I think a lot of men don't think of that way, right? Nobody says this behavior was worse than a girl his age teasing him. You know. And then Justice Long says, yes, not to be vulgar, but isn't that why he had that smell on his fingers?
Oh, but yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. But that's a little all different all the way. That's a different all the way, right?
Well, okay.
That was Boys in the Hood all the way, right? It's like, I ain't got a few chicks or whatever, but he never could go all the way through with it.
Well,
but either way, that's too far for her. Right?
The conclusion is
she can't do that.
That you and your 25-year-old plus body parts and body did not had no business interacting in that way. You just didn't.
Yeah.
You know, you just did not. Well, let's answer the final question.
Is
it cringe? This is the title. The Inkwell, cringe or coming of age?
I'm going to just have to say coming of age. That's just it. And
you said come of age. I'm saying cringe. We 50-50 over here.
It could be both, though.
We 50-50 over here because
cringe. Somebody talked about how, right, the boys don't know that it's wrong. And is it the trauma that really makes it wrong? Or does he have to be convinced that something happened to him and didn't have to go seek help for it? Right? So he may be like, I came of age. I'm a man now.
So we got Justice Long saying coming of age. We got Lay Love saying cringe. Jay Buggin saying coming of age. Come on, we got to see y'all in the chat. And
look,
while we
wind up, we'll put the other ones on the cringe side.
I need more of my cringes. Stand up in the chat. Stand up in the comments because I cannot be the only one who is over here cringing behind this. Paris Finley said it's true for both. You know, it's coming of age and it's
that must
cringe.
Mean it's a good movie. Like if they got a situation like that and we still like, yeah, it's a good movie and he came of age. Wait, what? That's amazing.
Well, and Justice Long talks about that he had a disability and that you know that they are more likely to fall into that category.
Bruh,
look.
I don't even think I brought
we were
that up
trying
in
to wind it down,
conversation.
but you got to be right about saying that actually, because if based on what we discussed, he had some issue, right? Which would mean that he had something extra going on with his development and stuff like that, that he is more, just like the question we asked this question regarding Forrest Gump.
It's like, not just with the age of consent, it's also with the differences in age, right? And someone's mental development, right? It's all the stuff that makes this kind of gray, right? So then when you add that into it, then if you say everything else, he was able to consent, but then you get that and it's like, oh, well, That just does all the other stuff don't matter, right?
Paris Finley say it makes it even worse from that perspective. That's so degenerate. And we asked this same question really. It was just this week when we did Forrest Gump, and that's on the Axiom Amnesia 2.0 channel. It's 3 hours of Forrest Gump discussion, over 3 hours. And that's the question, because we know Forrest was a little slow. And could he have, when he was getting with Jenny, like, was that okay? Was
right.
that okay?
But
these are
Jenny
the questions
knew,
we should
but
be
Heather
asking.
didn't. Though,
Heather didn't.
Too.
Yeah, to Heather he may have seen Norm. So then that's another
normal only young.
Yeah,
he's not saying to make it much better, but
it really doesn't, because it's still just as wrong. Yeah. So that's it. But at the end of the day, we have discussed this movie over and over. But do not stop suggesting films for us to cover, because it gives me ideas as we go. It gives Heit ideas as we go on, like what should we talk about? And it doesn't just have to be Black films, because on Axiom Amnesia 2.0, like we just covered Forrest Gump, so we can cover any movie that is going to have an amazing discussion, and it just depends on which channel we'll put it on, based on the likely viewers on that particular channel, because each channel has its own sort of viewership. We appreciate you so much.
Yep. So if you made it this far, go ahead and type scram in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
And be sure to check out the video that's on the screen right now.